Hey, 228. Now we're going to go over the Lab 6 in-class assignment. Hopefully you tried it on your own. If you got stuck, it's great to watch this video and follow along. If you're just watching this to practice, the two topics we're basically going to cover here are reference geometries and auxiliary views. Okay, so I've got my part here that I want to CAD, and I'm trying to think about how I want to start it. I can see that I've got this feature, this cylindrical feature on an inclined plane. So I could start with that and build my rectangle afterwards, but it seems like from this drawing, that isn't what happened. I just am guessing, I'm not guessing, I can see that this is probably where their reference geometry went so that they could create this piece perpendicular to that plane. So I think the best thing to do is start with this top view, get the block shape, and then come back in, create a reference geometry, and do that extruded circle. So let's do that. I'm going to build a new part. I'm going to make sure that I'm in inches. All right, so I'm going to start with my first sketch, and I want that top view. So I'm going to do a center rectangle so I can keep it at the origin. I'm going to go ahead and smart dimension my rectangle. And then I'll go ahead and fill it my shape. And the fillet is 0.4. Great. All right, I'm ready to extrude this piece, which I'm going to do, and it is 0.95. Next piece I'm going to tackle are these holes, which aren't labeled, but they will be on your in-class assignment. So I'm going to go to my hole wizard. And I know just because I can see that they're countersink holes, because I've got that angle there. So it's countersink, and for the position. So now we're going to do something interesting. So I can see that these are located, the center of these holes is at the center point of the fillet. So instead of doing a linear pattern, what I'm going to do is select sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm going to just select the points since they're already sketched for me, since I've got a point there for the center radius. Remember, so when we created that fillet, it put a point where the center of the radius is. So that's why I don't have to go back in and redefine these, is because they were just put on a point that was already defined. That makes sense. Okay, so next thing to tackle is this reference geometry. So I'm essentially going to build a plane that's going to go through this part. And I think the easiest way to do that is to create some reference geometry for myself. So I want to look at the front view. And I am going to create here. So in the front view, I'll create a new sketch. And I'm just going to draw a line Make it a construction geometry. Okay. So now I'll start smart dimensioning. Okay. Exit my sketch. Now I'll go to my reference geometry, select plane, and I want it to be along that line. So it's coincident to that line that we just drew. And then it's going to be perpendicular to that face. So now I've got it fully defined. It's following that construction geometry that we gave it. Click OK. Now I'm going to create a new sketch on this plane. And so even though I can draw on this plane, and that's nice, it's really hard to see what I'm looking at. And you can't, because we're at a weird angle, you can't just go to your heads up toolbar and select a plane. So the easiest thing to do is to right click on the plane you just drew and then normal to. Okay, from here I'm going to draw my cylinders, so I'm looking dead at that plane. Okay, and I can tell that the center point of this circle is at the midline, not of this, but the midline of that line we drew, that reference geometry that we drew. So I'm going to start my circle there. Smart dimension. Okay, now I'm going to go to my Features tab and extrude. I've lost track a little bit of where my top face is. Okay, so I need it to come the other way. Okay, so now I need to figure out how far I should extrude it. And so I come over here. I'm not given a length here. I am given a length along this, which is awfully handy because that is just the exact length. Otherwise, I would have had to do some math to figure out essentially what that hypotenuse is. But it's given me that distance. So I know that I need to extrude 2 inches. Click OK. Yeah, and you are done. Okay, so the last thing that this problem asks you to do, make drawing, I guess, save, I don't know, call it chapter. But you are calling it something with your last name in it so that it's a unique part. Yes, yes. I'm going to go ahead and make this full screen. Okay, so let's bring in my 3 ortho views. I'm going to get rid of that blue origin. And finally, I need an auxiliary view so that I can get a true dimension. So the truth is you could get this dimension you could dimension it reasonably, but there's nowhere on your 3 orthographic projections to very reasonably dimension this. You could do it to the hidden lines, but that's really not ideal. So going to our view layout, selecting auxiliary view, and then I'm going to select the line that I want it to be perpendicular to. And now you can move your piece around. Change how you want the orientation. Maybe use a different size sheet for this, but for the purposes of an in-class assignment, this looks okay. From there, you are going to smart dimension everything. You can use, as always, you can use the model items tool, but just be careful. You can't, in general, you can't just click it and walk away like this. This is crazy messy, right? It's coming into my title block. It's not good. It's not pretty. So it certainly wouldn't be done. And in fact, I'm going to go in and probably change some of these leaders. Get rid of this view. Yeah. Nice. Okay. That's it for the in-class assignment. Save this as a PDF and submit it to Blackboard. Have a good week. Bye.